For more than 3 decades, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, stood at the center of one of the most complex political systems in the modern world. As the highest authority within the Islamic Republic, his role extended far beyond ceremonial leadership. He shaped military doctrine, influenced regional alliances, oversaw intelligence strategy, and played a decisive role in Iran's nuclear ambitions. To supporters, he represented continuity and resistance. To critics, he symbolized consolidation of power and regional confrontation. But regardless of perspective, one fact remained undeniable. He was one of the most protected political leaders on earth. By 2025, tensions across the Middle East had intensified to levels not seen in years. Long-standing shadow conflicts between Iran and Israel began shifting into more direct confrontations. The United States, bound by strategic alliances and regional interests, became increasingly involved. In June 2025, reported airstrikes targeted key Iranian nuclear facilities, including Fordo and Natanz. The strikes marked a dramatic escalation in the ongoing standoff over Iran's enrichment program. While official statements varied, satellite imagery and international reporting confirmed significant structural damage. The geopolitical temperature rose immediately. Following those events, Iran's leadership apparatus underwent noticeable change. Public appearances by the supreme leader decreased sharply. National addresses were limited. Meetings were reportedly relocated to undisclosed secure sites. Analysts observed a shift toward extreme operational secrecy. According to multiple intelligence assessments, the supreme leader moved into a network of reinforced underground complexes beneath Tehran. These were not ordinary bunkers. They were described as multi-layered command facilities engineered to survive sustained aerial bombardment. Some reports suggested that portions of the network were buried nearly 100 meters underground, connected through a web of tunnels designed to ensure mobility and escape redundancy. Security measures intensified dramatically. Senior officials were allegedly transported using counter-surveillance techniques. Access routes changed frequently. Communications were tightly compartmentalized. Even within Iran's own power structure, information flow became restricted. The philosophy was simple: unpredictability equals survival. Yet while the supreme leader withdrew deeper underground, a parallel effort unfolded quietly beyond Iran's borders. Intelligence communities in Washington and Tel Aviv reportedly expanded long-term monitoring operations. According to international defense reporting, analysts focused not only on physical tracking, but also on pattern analysis, studying communication rhythms, scheduling tendencies, and subtle behavioral consistencies. Even the most secure systems generate signals. Over months, intelligence specialists compiled fragments, logistical movements, encrypted traffic surges, unusual travel sequences, satellite-detected convoy timing. Individually, these pieces meant little. Together, they formed probability maps. By late 2025, diplomatic negotiations between Iran and Western powers resumed briefly. Talks centered on enrichment limits, verification frameworks, and phased sanction relief. However, progress stalled repeatedly. Trust deficits remained deep. Military deployments in the region quietly expanded. Aircraft carriers repositioned. Missile defense systems were reinforced across Gulf states. Joint exercises increased in frequency. Publicly, leaders emphasized diplomacy. Privately, contingency planning accelerated. Then came early 2026. According to multiple defense sources, intelligence agencies identified a rare event, a scheduled high-level leadership meeting inside a central government compound in Tehran. The compound housed administrative offices tied to the supreme leader, the presidency, and the Supreme National Security Council. What made this meeting extraordinary was attendance concentration. Senior military commanders, intelligence chiefs, and national security officials were expected to gather in one place at one time, something normally avoided for security reasons. The presence of the supreme leader himself was reportedly confirmed with high confidence by intelligence sources. From a strategic standpoint, such convergence creates vulnerability, even in fortified environments. However, the timing presented complications. Standard operational doctrine favors nighttime strikes for concealment and tactical advantage, but the meeting was scheduled for a Saturday morning. The opportunity window would be brief and highly visible. Decision-makers faced a dilemma: delay and risk losing confirmation, or proceed under daylight conditions that would increase exposure and escalation risk. By late 2026, diplomatic channels had reportedly collapsed once more. Negotiations in Geneva ended without agreement. Official statements signaled hardening positions on all sides. Within days, final authorization was reportedly granted for coordinated action. In the early morning hours of February 28, 2026, regional military movements intensified. According to defense briefings released later, initial phases targeted Iran's integrated air defense network. Radar installations, communication relays, and command and control infrastructure were reportedly struck to reduce response capability. The objective was not large-scale destruction, it was temporary blindness. Only after suppression operations were deemed effective did precision-guided munitions reportedly strike the leadership compound in Tehran. Missiles impacted multiple buildings in rapid sequence. Analysts later emphasized the extraordinary synchronization required: satellite verification, electronic warfare coordination, strike vector alignment, and confirmation timing. Within minutes, global monitoring networks detected explosions in central Tehran. Information blackout followed. Iranian state media initially dismissed reports of senior casualties. Official statements described the leadership as secure and functioning. However, international outlets cited intelligence sources suggesting otherwise. Hours passed. By early March 1st, confirmation arrived through Iranian state channels. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had died during the strike. Several high-ranking military officials were also confirmed killed. The announcement reverberated globally. Inside Iran, reactions revealed deep societal divides. In some districts of Tehran and other cities, large gatherings formed in mourning. Citizens waved flags and chanted religious slogans, expressing loyalty to a leader who had defined their political era. In other areas, smaller groups reportedly celebrated quietly, viewing the event as the possible beginning of political transformation. The duality reflected the complexity of Iranian society itself, unified by history, yet divided by vision. Internationally, governments responded cautiously. Allies emphasized the strategic nature of the operation. Regional actors urged restraint. Energy markets fluctuated sharply amid fears of retaliation. Military analysts debated immediate consequences. Would Iran respond directly? Would proxy groups escalate? Or would leadership transition mechanisms focus internally on stabilization? Experts described the event as a watershed moment in modern intelligence warfare. For years, underground bunkers were viewed as ultimate insurance against leadership targeting, but technology evolved, surveillance sophistication expanded, pattern recognition became as powerful as physical reconnaissance. The operation demonstrated how long-term intelligence development, months, even years in the making, can converge on a narrow window of opportunity. But beyond tactical precision lies strategic uncertainty. Leadership removal does not automatically dismantle systems. Power networks often adapt rapidly. Successor structures emerge. Institutional continuity can outlast individuals. In the weeks following the strike, Iran's governing bodies initiated formal succession procedures under constitutional guidelines. Public mourning periods were declared. Security forces increased presence nationwide. Meanwhile, global intelligence agencies monitored for signs of retaliation or instability. The broader question remained unresolved. Did this operation reduce long-term conflict potential, or did it simply shift the battlefield into a new phase? Historians will debate that for decades. What is certain is that February 28, 2026 marked a defining chapter in Middle Eastern geopolitics. It highlighted the reach of modern surveillance systems. It underscored the vulnerability of even the most fortified command centers, and it revealed how timing, information, and coordination can reshape regional power structures in a matter of hours. The story is not solely about missiles or military assets. It is about intelligence, The quiet accumulation of data points, the patient mapping of routines, the fusion of technology and human analysis. In a world where information travels faster than ever, secrecy has become increasingly fragile. On that morning in Tehran, decades of security architecture confronted the realities of 21st century intelligence capability. The result was not just the end of a leader's era, but the beginning of an unpredictable new geopolitical landscape. And as the Middle East recalibrates once more, one truth stands out. In modern conflict, the most decisive battles are often fought long before the first missile is launched.